This video is in association with Ep15 Trading. Come check us out. What's up guys, Mystic Frost here. So, a couple of things. First of all, initially I wasn't going to do a deck profile today, even though I am playing something different. And the reason for that is because I've done an intense deck profile over on Matt Black's channel, which yeah, I wanted you guys to go check him out and show some support and everything. He's recently gone back into content creating. He used to do it about 7 years ago. But then my eye's been playing up a fair bit today, and yeah, it's turned into a full-on eye infection. So like, I can't see properly. My face all looks weird because of like swelling and puffiness and whatnot, like to the point I'm struggling to keep my glasses on. So I thought I'll give you the local breakdown and give you a deck profile in as well, and then maybe a test hand or two depending on how long the video is at that point. So like I said in the last video as well, we have booked the wedding. We have done it. We have paid for the wedding using Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So thank you everyone. It's booked for September. There are still some other costs involved, such as like the DJ, the rings, the dress. So yeah, the series is still ongoing until the actual wedding. So you've got 3 more months of this series. So hope you are enjoying it. How did I do at locals today? I went 2-2 and came 8th. I got a top 8 spot, so I was quite happy with that. There was 18 players, so I know it doesn't sound a lot, but yeah, top 8 is still, with a brand new deck I've never played before, and only did very quick testing yesterday against my son. I'll take that. This deck is only going to get better as time goes. We will be improving it and changing things, and as more support gets released, things will get better. As you can tell from the thumbnail, it is the Shining Sarcophagus deck. We have tried this deck. We managed to assemble all the pieces to it relatively quickly, so I thought, why not give it a go. Round 1 was against Kashtira, full power Kashtira. He took game 1 very convincingly. Game 2, I was able to call, I was able to do the Gandora FDK, which was very, very nice. And then game 3, I sided in Dimensional Barrier, called XEs to stop him, which slowed him down. He did some damage, but then I was able to pull it back because he did misplay as well. So I was able to pull it back and go from there. Game 2, I was against Heroes. I lost to him last week, and surprise, surprise, I lost to him again this week. Game 1 was a bit cringe, not going to lie. I completely misread one of the cards in this deck. I was trying to activate it when I couldn't. Not only did I try to activate it when I couldn't, I tried to activate it 2 or 3 times when I couldn't. So it was very, very cringe of me, and when that video gets uploaded, I'm sorry. My opponent, though, absolute champ, explained fully why. And the thing is, I knew why, but something wasn't connecting in my brain properly. I don't know if it's the lack of sleep or the eye or what, or a combination of everything. But yeah, complete and utter fucking melt of a moment, I tell you. So enjoy watching that one. But yeah, they took me 2-0. It wasn't even close, to be fair. Then game 3, I was against my son, father-son match, which I lost, unfortunately, 2-1. He was on Sword Soul. Yeah, I did better than what I was expecting against Sword Soul. Yeah, sorry about that. Somebody knocked that door, so I just had to go to that. So what was I saying about my Sword Soul matchup? Managed to do some testing against Sword Soul on Saturday, and I lost every game but 1 in testing. Since the Sovereign is just a card I've struggled to play around using this deck, and it was the same today. So yeah, that was fun. And then round 4 I was against a Blue Eyes White Dragon deck of all things, so I really enjoyed that. That was a really good like anime feel moment, little Yugi's deck against Blue Eyes deck. Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that game, and I took that one 2-0, so we went 2-2. Like I said, we did misplay against Heroes. Maybe we could have taken a game, but honestly, I don't think the result would have changed too much. I think it would have still gone 2-2 today. So yeah, we'll take it. Like I said, the way I built this deck may not be to everyone's taste, and maybe there's some things that need to change. I want to add Nibiru to the main. I've just got to try and figure out what to take out, because I don't want to just chuck them in and throw off consistency. But I'll show you the deck and we'll show you what we're working with. So of course we have the 3 Shining Sarcophagus. This card is absolutely bonkers. So it cannot be destroyed by a monster effect. And once per turn you can search for any card that mentions Shining Sarcophagus apart from itself. And if your opponent goes to special summon a monster from the graveyard, you can discard the spell card and send that monster back to the grave. Next up we have the best 1-card starter of this deck, the Gadget Trio, which is, if it's normal or special summoned, you can add Shining Sarcophagus or a spell/trap that mentions it. When it's destroyed, you can set the Stronghold Trap from your deck, but we're not playing that. Then we have the Silent Magician 0. We are on 3 copies of this, one of which being a QCR. Check that out for a second. Just love showing that off. Look how beautiful that is. Some people are running this at 2. However, I was always needing the 3rd. Every game I've won is because I had 3 of these to cycle through. So maybe when the new support cards come out, maybe it drops to 2 at that point. I don't know. But at this stage, it was definitely needed at 3. And for those of you who don't know, is every time your opponent draws a card, this card gains a level. And he gains 500 attack, she gains 500 attack for every card, for every level it gains. And while Shining Sarcophagus is on the field, it's a built-in spell negate, and when it negates, it also gains a level. Next up, we have 1 copy of Silent Swordsman 0. Again, maybe a second one might be needed. I'm not entirely sure, but one definitely feeling okay for now. Again, same with the level manipulation. It can gain a level, but this time, every time there's a standby phase, it goes up by 1. And then when my opponent targets one of my cards or Shining Sarcophagus while Shining Sark is on the field, it will negate. We are playing 2 copies of Gandora. Gandora is our FTK. And the way Gandora works is if you control Shining Sark, you just spec it. And then you can pay half your life points, destroy every other card on the field. He gains 300 attack points for every card destroyed this way, but then all of those cards are also banished. So he gains 300 attack for every card banished, and he also banishes every card he destroys. From there, what happens as well is you can then spec a level 7 or lower monster that mentions Silent Sarcophagus from your deck, and increase that monster's level by the amount of cards you destroy. So a good one is obviously get your Magician 0 out after destroying, say, like 6-7 cards. It comes out, it has an extra 3,000, extra 4,000 attack. With it's already 1,000, so it's 4,000 to 5,000. And if you've got 10 cards banished on both sides of the field, which hopefully you will have, there's your ATK. We then play 3 copies of Future Silence. Now, I do side 1 copy of this out quite often just because I really don't know what I'm siding yet for this deck. However, I do feel like even though it is a great starter, the deck already has a lot of great starters, so I did feel comfortable being able to drop this to 2 in some games today. And this one is literally reads, add a monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from deck to hand. If you have Shining Sarcophagus on the field and a monster that mentions it, you can activate it in the battle phase, and both you and your opponent will draw cards until you are both holding 6. So the idea there is that not only do you replenish your hand, but you get your opponent to draw a whole bunch of cards, and then your magician will gain a whole lot of attack, because say if they draw 5 cards, it will gain 2500 attack because it would have gone up 5 levels. Next up, we have Turn Silence. This is the card I misplayed heavily on against against our hero player. Sorry, what's that in the sleeve? And because it says during damage calc, and my monkey of a mind earlier just could not connect what that meant, which is, like I said, I am a Yu-Gi-Oh judge, I should know that, so clearly something wasn't connecting properly earlier. But the way this card reads is that you target one of your monsters, you increase its level by 3. Fantastic. If you control Shining Sarcophagus, and you activate this card in response to an opponent's monster, negate that monster's effect. During damage calculation, if a monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard, end the battle phase. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I misread that massively earlier. I thought the damage calc part was the increase by 3 in response to negate. It wasn't. Okay, leave in the comments below anyone who knows this, and I will message some friends later who are also judges. So the scenario here was I destroyed my opponent's DPE. They tried to spec back, activate the effect of DPE. I went to activate this, obviously still in the battle phase, in response to gain 3 levels and negate DPE activation. That should work in my head, because you can activate cards in the battle phase that negate, as long as they activate in response to something. So, yeah, leave it in the comments if I'm right, if I'm wrong, whatever, and we'll go from there. Then we are playing One Ties That Bind. So this one is, if you control a monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus and Shining Sarcophagus itself, you can spec 2 level 4 or lower monsters. So first of all, it can help if you're made to go first, because this is a go second deck. It can help set up your Magician 0 and your Swordsman 0, so you can get the negate and the target negate and the spell negate on field. But also, the way I optimised this card most earlier was I played it before summoning Gandora, so I had more things on the field to destroy and banish to boost the Gandora attack and increase levels, which worked quite nicely. Next up is the Dogmatica engine, which I've been running today. So we have one Ecclesia, also QCR, very nice, I love the Rarity collection. One Florderies, and one Maximus. When I can pull it apart, there we go, one Maximus. You really don't care about your X deck in this, so I thought this would be a great engine to put in. And as such, we have our 3 copies of Nadir 7. I did have to borrow one earlier, so sadly that's just an empty sleeve. I have got another copy ordered, it just didn't arrive in time, but it is coming. And then our 1 copy of Dogmatica Punishment, just to tie that all together. Again, lovely quarter century. Then for some board breakers, we do have Cashier of Fenrir. If you don't know what Fenrir does, you can spec it when you have no monster. And then when on battle deck, involving itself, you can banish with your opponent's face-up monsters. Or when they activate effect in response, you can banish. We have our 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, which I Up until building this deck, I really didn't like Droplet because I always thought I'm not going to have cards to give up. But surprisingly enough, I had a lot of cards to give up. The mixed rarities do hurt me though. I've got 2 secret and 1 ultimate, sorry. On 1 get a 3rd secret because that's my favourite rarity, as you know. We have 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent because this is a go second deck, so if your opponent hand traps you, cool. On the very few times I did care about my extra deck, I'll just yoink one of their monsters and link it off. That's how I got around Protoss. 1 Called by the Grave, because you want things to resolve. 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, and here again we've got 2 ultimates and a secret, so a bit hurt there. And then 1 hand trap of the actual deck, Dimension Shifter, which was very nice. Shifter can win games by itself. With the extra deck, like I said, you don't really care, but we do have one just for the lols. First of all, we have Nadir Servant targets. Oh, you're not a Nadir Servant target, bear with me. Where's my other Nadir Servant targets? There they are. Well, there's one of them. There we go. So we have our Nadir Servant targets. So we have our 2 Entis and our 1 Cloud Beast. Entis, when sent to the grave, you can pop a monster. Cloud Beast bounces a monster when sent to grave. And yes, both Entises are QCR as well. Then we have our Super Poly targets. Super Poly is in the side deck, but also Garura can also fall under the oh my god, the spell card Nadir Servant. Why did I forget what it was called? Fall under Nadir Servant because when it's sent to grave you can draw a card. But then our other Super Poly targets being Mud Dragon and Predator Plant Dracus Stepelia. Honestly, not sure if they're going to stay because Super Poly, as daft as it sounds, as good as it is, just really felt like that it didn't do much, which is crazy when you think about that, about Super Poly. Then we have the RIP and the SP. We finally got hold of an SP, which is really, really nice. We then have the Light Charmer and the Dark Charmer. And these are part of the access code package because you go into one of them, spec back something from your opponent's grave and link all of them off into the Selene. Selene hopefully will have 3 or more counters, which then you can bring back when you use spellcasters like your Magician Zero, and then go into the access code Tocker. And then you've got different attributes in grave. If your opponent does try to floodgate you out for whatever reason, you do run the Nightmare Phoenix. I'd love to try and fit Unicorn in this deck somehow. Maybe when I drop the Super Poly targets, that's something I could look into. And then the last 2 cards are the main 2 that you would make from the extra deck. And you would only make these if shit has gone wrong. Which is, of course, our Superstar Slayer Typhoon and Buster Blackluster Soldier. Now, is it Yugi deck? I had to play Blackluster Soldier, and he actually came up a couple of times today, which was really nice. Again, really sorry, this ain't the normal style video I've been putting out for the locals, and again, I am really sorry that if I don't sound as energetic as normal. Like that, I am dealing with a hell of a eye infection at the moment, and it is honestly draining me. So I'm going to the doctor tomorrow morning to get that sorted. Just give deck a nifty little mix up here. Hopefully there's not too much clumping, and we can do a quick test hand just to see what we could do with it. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Ignore the mobile phone stand. So there's the mix. Opponent will always cut your deck, so when you do test hands, always remember to cut your deck. So look, starting off with Shining Sark already is fantastic. And Fenrir, second copy of Shining Sark. Like I said, this is a go second deck, so you would always have the 6th card as well. So with this hand, you would start off by speccing your Fenrir, because why wouldn't you? And then activate your Shining Sark. We'll put our hand over here. We'll activate the effects of Shining Sark to search a monster that mentions it. So here we will search our gadget. Even though we've already got the Shining Sark, we'll still search the gadget, which we will then normal summon. Gadget effect will then activate, which will allow us to add a Shining Sark or a spell trap that mentions it. So we will grab our Future Silence, which we will now activate. So that's now in our grave. And that allows you to grab any monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, such as Gandora. If your opponent has activated anything at this point, you can triple tax, draw 2, take, rip a card, whatever you want to do. Like I said, I want to try and bolster my field as much as possible, so Gandora can destroy as many cards as possible. So I'm going to activate the Ties Up Bind, because I control both a monster and the Shining Sark. So I can spec out 2 level 4s or lower. So there is the Silent 0. And we will spec out another gadget. We're now locked out of our extra deck, but hey, who cares? Assuming this is what we've still got, I'll activate the Fenrir effect for follow-up to grab another copy of Fenrir. I still think it's stupid that he can search for himself. And then I would set the triple tax, and I would set the other Shining Sark. Here now, I will spec out Gandora over here, running out of room. I would pay half my life points to destroy everything else, but this can't be destroyed by monster effects, so that will not get destroyed. So we've destroyed 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's assume that we've destroyed 4 cards on our opponent's side field to make it easy. These all get banished as well though, okay? So, and now we can spec a level 7 or lower monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus, such as Silent Magician, and he will now gain a level for every card that was destroyed by Gandora. So if we destroyed 6 on our end and 4 on our opponents, he will gain 10 levels, and he will gain 500 attack for each level. So therefore, that will give him an extra, why is my math so bad? An extra 5,000 attack, making him 6,000. And 10 times 3 is 3,000, making Gandora 3,000. You just blown up the entire field. There's nothing on your opponent's side. That is game. That is the FTK with this deck. So, hope you enjoy that, and I will catch you guys next week. And this week, we will have gameplay footage go live and a really good deck profile by Matt Black. Go check out his channel. I will drop the link below. Peace.